So that first piece, Volcán de Fuego, Volcano of Fire, was pretty fiery, I thought. I hope you thought so. Nice way to open the concert, and not too scary of a way for everybody involved, player and listener, kind of breaks the ice. And we have a lot of pieces this evening that are going to be performed on instruments that play pitches. Okay, so here we have a xylophone in the front, and behind them its larger cousin, the marimba. The instruments sound a little bit different if you've never really compared, although the bars are made out of the exact same wood, but they have different dimensions to the bars, which give them, in the case of the xylophone, a sharper, more skeletal sound. And the marimba bars, you may even be able to see from where you are that those bars are kind of flatter and wider, and they have a mellower tone, but they're all, tuned, pitched the same, just different quality of sound. So we have a lot of mallet pieces this evening. And here come our folks for the next piece, Log Cabin Blues, written by George Hamilton Green, one of this country's most prolific xylophone players in the early part of the last century. He was one of the highest paid soloists in the country when he would go do a concert as a xylophone soloist or as a soloist in front of a wind ensemble or an orchestra. He was a great arranger and a composer of original music, and is credited with kind of giving us kind of our early ragtime composition styles. So this is one of his compositions, Log Cabin Blues, with Mr. Henry Concert on the xylophone, being backed up by his colleagues on the marimbas. And enjoy this arrangement by Bob Becker of Hamilton Green's Log Cabin Blues. George Hamilton Green would take a popular song that was on the radio, maybe that week, top 40, and he would find the piano music for it, and it didn't matter what the type of piece it was. But he would figure out how to take the melody, and then by using little patterns in his hands, he would figure out how to turn it into a ragtime rhythm, and then rearrange it, and he had to play live on the radio every week. And the rumor is that he had a little school on the Upper West Side of New York, and one day he went in for the radio show, and he said he clipped a note or two in the show, and he put the mallets down at the end of the show and said, "Okay, that's it, I'm done." And he didn't come back. So kind of a perfectionist apparently, but he left behind some great books for us to all study out of, and that's one of the pieces that result. It's pedagogically sound for the students to go through George Hamilton Green rags, because it's really good for their hands and accuracy, playing that pile of wood back there. All right, we're going to switch gears quite a bit now. We're going to turn our attention to the marimba, and Zach Brown is going to come out and play Dream of the Cherry Blossoms by Keiko Abe. Now, Keiko Abe is very much still with us, and she's a teacher in Tokyo, and one of our industry's best players and composers, and she's written quite a bit for the marimba. This is one of her very well-known pieces. It has a lot of challenges for the player, but it's a kind of a variation on the Japanese theme of sakura. So you'll hear that theme throughout the piece with different kind of harmony accompanying it. And unlike the George Hamilton Green xylophone piece, which required Henry just to play with 2 mallets, the marimba piece, this is for our other technique of 4 mallet playing, which we work really hard on there. So please enjoy Keiko Abe's Dream of the Cherry Blossoms with Zach Brown performing. Okay, Zach wasn't tired enough yet, so we have to send him out to do more. Yeah. All right, gentlemen, make it happen. Thank you. There we go. We're moving equipment, wait a second, what's happening? You only moved one piece of equipment. Zach, this is insane. What are you doing on this side of the marimba? Okay, I'm not even gonna say anything more. Enjoy this next piece by Ivan Trevino. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, you didn't see that one coming, did you? That Zach would play all from the other side. Let me tell you, I wouldn't want to do that, because when you learn that, that means what is usually on your low side is now on the other. It's completely mirror image. So, hey, he did a good job of that. I'm glad he did it. I didn't have to. So, anyway, that's a nice, really interesting and novel use of the instrument. And actually, there's an African tradition of playing from both sides of an instrument, but they don't have the instrument set up like a piano keyboard with naturals and accidentals like these are. It's just one straight row of bars, and it's called Akadinda or Amandinda marimba, and it's from, let's see what country. I'm going to get it wrong. Any musicologists in the audience? Okay. Anyway, you know who knows? Google knows. You can look that one up. Amandinda marimba. I've always wanted to build one, never have, but that shares that kind of technique. Okay, back to this country and another George Hamilton Green concert piece. This one a little different. It's a kind of a, well, Valse Brillante is not a ragtime piece. It's more like a concert fantasy, but same kind of setup with the xylophone soloist up front and two marimbas back in the back. I think probably when it was originally composed, it would have been a piano player and a xylophone soloist, but they took the piano part and fleshed it out for 4 players. So Emily Hernandez is going to wow you with a little Valse Brillante. It'll be very brilliant jewelry you have. She looks very brilliant. And you enjoy this lovely concert piece by George Hamilton Green. Okay, we pulled a funny on you. We had a ninja percussion make his way up there, so anyway, got to throw a little fun in there. Okay, now we have to assemble the next piece, and we started off with a very drummy piece. We've had lots of ensemble mallet and solo mallet pieces. Now we're going to play a piece that mixes it all together by Michael Burritt called Fandango 13. I heard this piece a few years ago at the Percussive Arts Society convention. Yes, there is a percussion convention. You can imagine that's a really quiet one. It's down in Indianapolis, and it's there for 2 years, and then they'll go somewhere else and come back for 2. And it's an international competition, and it's 3 days of everything percussion you could imagine. And they usually invite some of the, you have to compete for the space on the concerts. But the Eastman School of Music's percussion ensemble was there, which Michael Burritt is the teacher there and the percussion ensemble director. And they played this piece of his, and as soon as I heard it, I'm like, I am so buying that piece. That's great. We got to do that. I need it. So I went up, I talked to him about it. It's like, oh, I got to get those parts. And he's like, oh, you can't, because they're all handwritten. I haven't sent it to the publisher yet to get it published. And I'm like, please send me an email when all of that gets done. And I think I waited about a year, and then finally I looked into it, and sure enough, they had been published, all on nice clean parts. So I snapped it up right away, and then we did it here at school shortly after that. So it is making its appearance again after a few semesters. Students change. It's good for them to go through a body of repertoire, and this is one of my favorites, and I think you're going to really enjoy it as well. So you just patiently wait for us to assemble everything, and then we'll launch Fandango 13. No surprises. Nobody's going to pop up from anywhere. program. The next piece, Edge of the World by Nathan Daughtry, is a really very, very nice, charming piece for the marimba and the vibraphone. And the vibraphone is that silver instrument there, and if you've never really looked at one, you'll wonder what is the difference. Well, they sure look different. The only difference is that they are both set up like any keyboard instrument, just like a piano with naturals and accidentals. So if you don't understand the black and white notes on a piano, you'd walk up to any of these instruments and you would recognize that pattern. All the notes are the same. The difference is in the material that the bars are made out of. And obviously, the marimba and the xylophone are both made out of a substance called rosewood. Very hard, rings well. Now, the vibraphone is made out of aluminum, and it was invented in the 1920s. Very easy to tune. It stays in tune really well. And we equate the sound of the vibraphone with jazz, with some of the early players like Red Norvo, who used to play jazz on a xylophone, but then when the vibraphone was invented in the 20s, he started using that. And that sound has been very evocative of the jazz period for us ever since. So really, the vibraphone was only developed maybe 100 years ago, not quite. So this is a charming duet by Nathan Daughtry, who's a very good composer, lives in Greensboro, North Carolina, where I spend my summers teaching every year at a music camp, and so I've gotten to know him really well, and he's supplied me with some really good pieces over the year. These fellas, they came up with it on their own, and I said, sure, piece by Nathan? You bet. They do a really nice job with it. Lucas is soloist on the vibraphone, and hard-working man tonight, Mr. Zach Brown, again on marimba. He's our go-to guy, glutton for punishment. Thank you, Zach. That's right, he's like a galley slave for the percussion section here. Okay, so enjoy Edge of the World by Nathan Daughtry. We are going to hear Gitano by Alice Gomez next. Alice is a very good marimba player, did a lot of duets for percussion and marimba with another musician, Marilyn Rife, who played in the San Antonio Symphony for many years, and I think she's like personnel manager of the Baltimore Symphony now. Left percussion, went into orchestra management. But Gitano, very nice piece, has a good Spanish feel to it. You will definitely feel those rhythms, and it's performed by Marcia West Estelle. So I think we're all set. She's going to get her music set up before she plays, but let's welcome Marcia to the stage. novelty piece from a period you've already visited. Another George Hamilton Green piece called Fluffy Ruffles, this time arranged by William Kahn. The other arrangements have been done by Bob Becker, and they are actually very good friends and play in the same percussion group called Nexus together, kind of based in Rochester, New York. Bill Kahn is associated with the Eastman School of Music and was trained there, as was Bob Becker. So this is one of Bill Kahn's arrangements of a George Hamilton Green piece, and this as well would have been arranged for a novelty group consisting of piano, saxophone, and xylophone called the Green Brothers Trio way back. And you may know the Green Brothers Trio if you like Walt Disney and you go back and you watch the very first animated film, Steamboat Willie. That is the Green Brothers novelty band that did the music for that first animated short. So they were out there and you didn't even know it. So you got a lot to Google when you get home. A lot of YouTubing. Okay, well, don't go crazy. You'll go down the rabbit hole of 1920s novelty music and you'll never come up for air. So, or maybe that's autobiographical, I guess. So, okay, well, Mr. Shane Carner is going to light up some fluffy ruffles for you here. Enjoy. It's an up-tempo piece and really fun. This is our Last piece, because after this, there really isn't anything else to, to say after this is done. So it's the good last word. So, Bonham by Christopher Rouse. Bonham refers to John Bonham, who was the drummer for Led Zeppelin. Has not been with us for many, many years, but is certainly still considered one of the, one of the greats in the rock drumming world. From that period, really unique sound and way he played a lot of those tunes that they recorded. So Christopher Rouse is inspired by that, and I'll read what he says about Bonham. The work is an ode to rock drumming and drummers, most particularly Led Zeppelin's legendary drummer, the late John Bonzo Bonham. The core ostinato of the score, played by the drum set, is taken from Led Zeppelin's When the Levee Breaks. Although there are references to other Led Zeppelin songs as well, such as Custard Pie and Royal Orleans. In addition, 2 other sources are cited: the Butterfield Blues Band, Get Yourself Together, and Bo Diddley, whose adoption of the traditional ham-bone rhythm added so much to the distinctive style of his material. And Chris Rouse, he dedicated this to Frank Epstein, who played cymbals for the Boston Symphony. A little bit of trivia for you. So, yes, so you'll see a lot going on the drum set. When the Levee Breaks is probably one of the most sampled drum beats in the electronic literature. Everybody stole that. If John Bonham were still alive and could get royalty for that, he would have been even richer. I'm sure his family would go into the future very wealthy on that sample. So, looks like everyone's just about done with putting their stuff together. Okay, all right. Well, thank you for coming. I'd like to thank our Chancellor for supporting, Chancellor Vicki Carwine, for supporting our department so well while she's been here. And you might have seen the announcement that she's retiring soon from the university. And she's been a great supporter of us and helped us to update our equipment quite a bit over the past couple of years, which we really needed to be competitive with other schools. So thank you to her, Dean O'Connell in Visual and Performing Arts, and my immediate boss, Mr. Greg Jones, who's a wonderful boss and very supportive of everything we do here at the school. So lots of goings on here at school with, there's a Wind Fest coming up this week, and we have Lawrence Central High School visiting us tomorrow. It's a flurry of activity. And then we've got some student recitals happening. It's the big crazy time right before graduation here. So thank you all for coming. Appreciate your support of our programs. And I'll shut up now and we'll play Bonham. And I'll send you home happy, okay? All right, thanks for coming.